Thank you, Charlie. So yeah, so the title tonight is I can't even remember, but it's about asking empowering questions, and it's questions are the steering wheel of the mind. Charlie, I don't know if you remember the name. Maybe you can pop it in the chat. I actually am more aware of the content than I am what I actually entitled it. But I'm really excited about this topic. And before I came on tonight, I asked myself the question, how can I inspire you? How can I give value? How can I raise your vibration? How can I raise your energy? And so that caused me to look at how I can. And I thought, well, I have to raise my own energy if I'm going to raise your energy. So I could have asked the question, what if they don't like me? I could have asked the question, what if it's crap? What will I do if it's crap? I could have asked myself the question, what if I fail? But I didn't. I chose to ask myself, how can I inspire you? So there's an incredible Tony Robbins quote that says, questions are the steering wheel of the mind. And if you think about this, when you go about your day, every day, you're asking yourself questions. Charlie, by the way, could you pin me so that when we're recording, I'm in the frame? Thanks very much for that. So questions are the steering wheel of the mind because they direct your focus. So what you won't be aware of is that when you're going about your daily business, everything, you're asking yourself lots of questions like, what do I need to do to get from here to here? How do I avoid hitting that car? How do I, what am I going to do next? I'm going to turn on the ignition, all those little micro questions that you won't be aware of. And so questions are this, I'm using the car because questions are the steering wheel of the mind. And so where we direct our focus changes our state. Now, if you don't know what state is, it's really the way you're feeling. And, there are lots of ways to change your state. One of them is to change your physiology. That's not what we're discussing tonight. Another is to change your language. That's not what we're discussing tonight, but what we are discussing is how to change your focus. So where do you direct your attention and how do you change your mental focus? Because what we focus on determines the way we feel. I think we can all agree on that. So, or how we focus on things. For example, you are looking at situations through your lens. Okay, so let's just use the example of going to a party. You go to a party and you see two people fighting, and that's what you focus on at the party. Now, you're going to think that that's a party where there's conflict. Whereas if you focus on two people kissing, you might think, wow, this is a really joyful, cool environment. Or you look at two people who are bored, you might think this is a boring party. What the problem is that your camera, your lens doesn't take in everything. It takes in, whatever you focus on is what you see. And as you know, two different people going to the same party are going to have a hugely different experience. My tendency might be to focus on the fact that I don't really like big parties. So I'm going to want to get out of there as soon as possible. Whereas if my question at the party was, how am I really going to enjoy this party, despite my previous experience of parties, then I might have a really good time. So there are unlimited things we can focus on, but as humans, we have the tendency to delete, distort, and generalize. And so in this case, we're talking about deletion, because if you're focusing on one thing, which is the two people fighting, you're deleting everything else that's going on in the room, right? Now, that causes you to distort your view of the whole thing, or maybe generalize that everyone in the room is unhappy. So the quality of your life is to do with your life state. So for example, you hear about these super, super, super successful people like Elvis Presley, John Belushi, Elizabeth Taylor, people like that who have everything and yet they're incredibly unhappy and they die in unhappiness. Then you have people like, for example, Viktor Frankl, who was in a concentration camp, and his focus was, how am I going to take what I've learned here and use it to benefit humanity? Or there's a guy, I can't remember his name. If anybody knows it, type it in the chat box. The guy with no arms and no legs who goes around doing public speaking. So how you decide to live your life, the quality of your life, the joy in your life, the abundance, the gratitude, all of that is to do with your life state. And a lot of that is to do with asking yourself the right questions. So you can ask what's working, or you can ask what's not working. So I'm going to ask you to do a really quick exercise to demonstrate this focus thing. And this is something I stole from Tony Robbins, who's amazing, in my opinion. So I want you to look around the room you're in, and I want you to notice everything that's brown. Just notice every single thing that's brown. Okay? Look around where you are. Take it in. Notice everything that's brown. Now, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think about what in the room is blue. What in the room is white? What in the room is red? Now open your eyes and look around the room and notice that there are a lot more blue, white, and red things than you took in because you were busy looking for the brown. Does that make sense? So there are two aspects here to focus. One is our beliefs. The other is this thing of evaluating through questions. And I really want to do a presentation on beliefs next time. So that's something you can look forward to next week. I just had a really fantastic session with Peter Sage last night, which he did for all of his trainers about beliefs. And I can't wait to share it with you. So, here's a question that you might ask yourself. You can ask yourself when something happens to you, what does this mean? Or you can ask yourself, what should I do? Whatever question you ask with the expectation of getting an answer, you will get one. Your mind is like a computer. It will search for the answer. And so questions are the steering wheel of the mind. Whatever you focus on is going to grow. So our questions, by extension, determine how we feel. So let's say, for example, you're regularly asking yourself, why does this always happen to me? Why does this always happen to me? There's a presupposition in that bad stuff happens to you, unless you're thinking on why do good things always happen to me? And then you're going to start looking for the good things. Or here's another one. Why am I so fat? Instead of, how can I become more thin? Now, if you ask the question, why am I so fat? You're going to come up with, well, I eat too much. My parents gave me bad genes. I'm a stupid, no good loser. I can never get it right. I keep defaulting to my bad habits, blah, 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 blah. If you ask yourself, how can I become more thin? You're going to be focused on getting those answers. So it's about having a better quality question. But here's the kicker. What about this question? How can I become more thin now and enjoy the process? Can you feel the difference in that question? How can I become more thin now and enjoy the process? That's kind of different from, why am I so fat? Isn't it? So there are lots of questions like this. How come I never learn anything? How come I can't learn anything? And it's what's called an endless loop question. There are lots of reasons, and none of them are going to empower you. So instead, you could ask the question, how can I get better at learning and enjoy the process? How can I find something to focus on that I'm going to learn easily? There's a million questions you can ask, and I'm going to ask you to participate in this after I finish this part of the presentation. How about this question? Why did he do this to me? Or why did she do this to me? Can you hear the victim in that? Rather than, how can I learn from this? How can I help myself more from this experience? How can I help other people? So as a general rule of thumb, the why questions, where you're searching for a bunch of answers to tell you why you're crap, are going to come up. This is the, you can ask questions that are going to lead you to an empowering answer. So for example, someone you don't like. Why do I hate this person so much? Well, you're going to come up with millions of answers, but and they're not going to make you feel great. They're going to lower your state. Or what do I respect about this person? Or what is this person teaching me? So which question is going to help you feel better? It's interesting because when Kathy and I hopped on, she didn't know I was doing this to her, but she was talking about how she's going to do stained glass. And so I started thinking, well, what would be some empowering questions I could ask her? So we talked about the kiln, and I said, she said, I could buy one, but I don't know where I could put it. So I thought, well, what's an empowering question here? Where could you put it? Or, it's going to be costly for me to hire someone else's kiln. The question might be, how can I make more money so that I can easily and joyfully pay for this to happen? And if you set those questions, your mind will begin looking for an answer. So I don't know if some of you saw my post about the catalytic converter the other day, but I woke up on Sunday morning planning to go somewhere, and the catalytic converter, or Saturday morning, and the catalytic converter on my car had been stolen. I got in the car, I turned the ignition, and the car just went like this. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Is this car going to explode? So I called my mechanic, and he said, probably your catalytic converter was stolen. They're doing that a lot these days. It's really easy to take it and sell it. I have a really old banger of a car. And, my first thought, like anyone's, was bastards. And then I thought, what's funny about this situation? How am I going to make light of this situation? And I immediately started thinking, well, isn't it fortunate that I can pay for a new one? And I got in the car and I thought, wow, this sounds like a sports car. So I got in the car and I had to drive it to the mechanic, and it was so loud. It was practically deafening. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to pretend I'm in a sports car. And I was laughing the whole way to the mechanics. Then I told the mechanics the story, and they were laughing. How do you think I felt by the end of that? I felt empowered. I felt happy. I felt like I was using the situation to my advantage. So that's just a micro example of using this kind of thing in your daily life. So here's the thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't ever feel bad about stuff. I'm not saying you should never feel sad, angry, hurt, upset, and you have every right to feel how you feel. But then what's your next step after that? How can you flip it into benefit? And the way you do that is by changing your focus. So changing your focus is, what's great about this? And if there's nothing great about it, what could be great about it? Or if not that, then what else is great in my life right now? What you focus on empowers you. This is the key point. Then there might be the question of resources, like money is a big one. And this is something I deal with every day in my job, because I work for Peter Sage on the sales side, in addition to running my own training cohort. And, people say, I can't do this. I don't have enough money. But the real question is, if you want to do something, how can I make this happen? Is the correct question. That's the empowering question. How can I make this happen? I do this every day with my clients. Okay, how could you make it happen? Let's talk about that. Well, it would take me a year. Okay, it would take you a year. So what's the next step you're going to take to move you in the right direction? Because if I leave them in that state of I can't do it, I'm letting them go down that slope of I can't do this. I can't do it. So it's little distinctions. There are many things that you think are impossible, but it's just a question of the tiny distinctions of how you're going to take the next micro step forward. I'm not asking you to go from being really angry or disempowered to like suddenly being, yes, but what's the next step that's going to make you more empowered than you were 5 minutes ago? So if you think about it, when we're going about our daily business, and this is a really great thing to think about you're brushing your teeth in the morning. You could be thinking, why do I have to go to work today? I'm so tired. How am I going to get through this day? What am I going to do when I meet so-and-so? I mean, how's that going to make you feel? How is that going to start your day? But what about if instead you said, what can I do to make today great? What can I do to make one person smile? What can I do to enjoy what I'm doing? What fantastic thing can I have for lunch? The way you start your day is super important. The way you finish your day is super important. That's why we do things like gratitude. What are 5 things I could be grateful for today? Or taking the negative things that happen to you and re-scripting them in your head. Imagining them as if, how can I rewrite this script that I just played out in my mind, in my imagination? What can I notice today that's wonderful and beautiful? Might be some little child having a good time on his way to school with his mom. It could be the fact that the sun's shining. It could be that someone has planted a really beautiful garden. So what can I notice today that's going to lift my spirits? So you're directing your computer, you're directing your mind to go and search for the answer, and it will find the answer. But if you ask the wrong question, you're going to get the disempowering questions. So I want you to, you're going to get the disempowering experiences. Sorry, my brain, how can I get my brain back onto this rather than going ahead by 1,000,000 miles an hour? So here are some questions I want you to write down. This is pure Tony Robbins. It's fabulous. I love it. What are you most happy about? What could you be happy about? What could you be happy about being happy about? What makes you happy? What else makes you happy? How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? What are you really excited about? Maybe you're not excited about anything. So what could you be excited about? Kathy, could you be excited about starting with your creative projects? What about that makes you excited? What's exciting about that?
Creativity.
Exactly. What else? What are you really grateful for? How does that make you feel?
I'm grateful that I can actually do it, that I could actually achieve it, that I've got the facilities, the money, the opportunity to do it.
Exactly. How does that make you feel?
Brilliant.
Great. Someone else, what are you proud of? What could you be proud of? Jackie, are you proud of the fact that you managed to sell your house and come to London? What about that makes you proud?
Yes, I am proud. I should think about that more. I really did it.
Just asking the right question. What am I proud of? What do you love most in your life? Who do you love most in your life? How does that make you feel? So I'm going to ask all of you, and we're going to do some more of this together in a minute, but what would happen if you asked yourself these questions every morning and night? Because I'll tell you what would happen. This is called stacking. You're going to anchor them in your nervous system so that rather than looking for the negative, which we habitually do and is the default, I'm afraid, for most everyone on the planet. So, you know, how surprising is it that you're getting that experience back? You know, the world is just a mirror. We're creating our experience every minute.
Right.
So how does that make you feel? What would happen if you asked yourself these questions every morning and night? Condition, this is about reconditioning your nervous system.
It's the emotional things that throw me, though, not the practical or the economic problems or anything like that. It's emotion when something happens that makes me feel bad about it, unhappy, and I can't see how to resolve it.
We'll definitely discuss this. We're going to discuss this in 2 seconds. So what I want you to think about when you come off this call is I want you to find 5 questions that are going to put you in that higher state. In Buddhism, we call it a life state, but in personal development, we just call it your state. Okay. I want you to have 5 questions, give 2 answers to each questions and feel the answers for 30 days. So let's discuss this, Kathy. Let's talk about this right now. Give me an example of an emotion that you're feeling.
It's frustration and sadness when my partner doesn't reply or doesn't agree with me and won't discuss a compromise.
Okay, so this is about your partner. What's a question that you could ask about your partner that isn't negative?
Why do I want to be with him? I don't know.
Why do I want to be with him? Could that deliver you negative and positive?
It could, but there's a lot of positive there.
So what about what do I like about my partner rather than why do I like him? So if you think about going on here's a really simple hack. Think of what and how questions rather than why. Why blasts the field wide open. And unfortunately, there's a lot of, why do I like him? Could be the answer to that could be that because he's amazing, or the answer to it could equally be because I'm addicted to him. And that's something that you probably don't want to invite, right?
Yeah.
What do I like about him? What else could you ask about the fact that you disagree with each other? What's a good question to ask about when you disagree? What's a better question to ask?
How can we compromise? But he doesn't see compromise as an option.
Okay. So if he doesn't see compromise as an option, then that's a closed question, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. So it's how can I make him see another point of view?
Can't make anyone see anything.
All right, okay.
That's not empowering. Not make someone be something you don't want them to be. So it might be, how can I come to terms with, how can I embrace him as he is? How can I embrace him with all his flaws? How can I embrace him as he is?
Yeah.
And once you start doing that, you're going to be would you agree that you're going to be a whole lot less frustrated?
I think so, yes. Yes.
What can I be grateful for in our relationship? You see, you're resisting what is, and that's a problem in itself. What about him makes him the best partner for me? What's exciting about being with him? What do I love about him? How does that make me feel? What I love about him? What do I love about him? Is that helpful?
It is, yes, I can see that. Yeah, I'll think about that. Thank you,
When you,
Corey.
when you think about those questions, how do they make you feel? Does your state move?
Yeah, I feel happier. I feel more content. I think that I can see a route, some, sort of a solution in a way. I don't know whether solution is the right word, but I can see a route through that will make me feel happier about it.
Yeah, either happier or you'll leave.
Mm.
If you want to stay with them, then I suggest that you start looking for the good, because if you start looking for the bad, you're surely going to find it.
Yeah, I'm perhaps focusing on just one or two things that I don't want. Perhaps he focuses on the same, that he doesn't want those either.
Well, you can't do anything about what he's thinking or doing. Not one
But
thing.
we do stay together, so there must be a lot of positives there.
There
The
you
things
go.
that we both like. Yeah.
What are all the positives in our relationship?
Yeah. I think
how can I grow through this relationship?
Yeah, I think some of the issues are language. I don't know whether you have it, because I know your partner's Italian, same as mine. Perhaps translation, the interpretation, it doesn't always come out the same way as it would on Google if it was.
I totally agree. I totally agree. But here's the thing, if I reach a point where I feel that there is a difference in values, I won't stay with them.
No, I don't think there is a difference in values. I think.
So where do we share the same values? What values do we have in common that are really important to me? Write it down. Write it down.
Yeah.
Because if you share the same values and you know that you're coming from the same place, then the communication is less open to interpretation, because you can reduce it back down to that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I know you have integrity. I know that you are a caring person. I know that you are there for me, whatever it is for you. I don't know what it is for you, but this is after you get off this call, I really want you to take this exercise seriously. So who else has something they want to find some empowering questions around? Give me some problems. What are your problems?
I have something to be proud of.
Oh, good.
I realized today a little bit more. My daughter's turned 18 recently, and we've had a tough time over the last couple of years, but she has recently found a partner, a really good, healthy partner. And she's very happy, and I realized that I should be very proud of how I've raised her as a single mum for the last, pretty much 18 years. So I just had that realization while you were talking, Corey.
How wonderful.
I'm going to go off camera because I'm emotional.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What else can you be proud of, Charlie?
I'll do it with the camera off. I'm proud of how much I'm achieving in terms of my work. I'm doing really well in my job.
Amazing.
In all my jobs.
Yes,
I have a
Charlie
few.
works for me, everyone. She doesn't work exclusively for me, but she helps me out because I have admin overwhelm. So Charlie definitely carries a lot of the weight for me.
And when you were talking earlier about the garden, we don't own our house, it's rented, but I have made a brilliant job of the garden, and I'm just looking out at how beautiful all my plants are, and how lovely the space is, even though it's small, and realizing that when we do own our own house, we'll be able to take all of it with us because it's all in pots. Wow. And they're really cared for. So yeah, thanks for that.
What's beautiful about it?
I can come back on camera now because I've stopped crying.
Everyone loves people who cry.
I've got.
What do we love about someone who cries?
I've got lots of plants out there, all different colours, lots of geraniums. I've got a banana plant that I bought in Cornwall. I've got lavender. It's a really small area with decking, but I've made it look really beautiful. So yeah, I'm really
How do you
proud
feel
of it.
now?
Good.
Having listed that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, when we start asking these questions?
Yeah, because I'd written a long list of things I had to do today and I didn't quite catch up with them. And as you know, I was a bit behind my normal routine. And at dinner, I was sat there thinking, oh God, I haven't done everything I wanted to do. And then I stopped and joined this call and focused on the focuses that you pointed out. And now I feel better and it doesn't matter about the other things. I'll do them tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've
I
still done a lot today, actually.
I
That's
bet
what
you
I need
have.
to.
I bet you have. Well, if you're a mother, you've done a lot even the minute you wake up,
Thank
I would say.
you.
Anyone else? Adriana, you've disappeared from the camera. You're always such a great contributor. But we can't hear you. What can I do to read Adriana's lips? When
Can you
she's
see me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
I put the camera is on. Can you see me?
We can, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. For me, I just think I'm just very fortunate. I've been able to travel a lot, and I have the energy and the drive. I feel I've met people from all over the world, and it makes me really happy. And not hopefully, I will continue. And that makes me happy. I love traveling. I love meeting people. And I
So
feel
the question underneath that is that you are probably not even aware that you're asking is, how can I travel more and meet more people? You've already unconsciously set that question. That's why you're moving in the direction you're moving. Does that make sense? If you weren't asking that question, it's not gonna just suddenly happen. Do you see what I mean? So this is really the whole thing about understanding that questions really are the steering wheel of the mind. It doesn't mean that we dwell on them and go, how can I do this? How can I do this? How can I do this? It's more about just setting your compass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Else, Colleen, Jackie, what's troubling
know.
is the helpful thing, because life isn't always smooth. So this has been making me reflect too. How can one of the reasons I'm so driven to do growth work is because I'm always asking myself the question, how can I make my life more joyful, better, more inspiring, more inspired? But anyway, Colleen, I'm interrupting you.
Not at all. Well, one question I like to ask myself is, what would it take? Because that feels like it really does, move that steering wheel for me into, the positive directions, and going back on, what am I proud of? That I actually finished a website.
Wow. You're
Yeah.
me.
And, to just finally do it after coming up with excuse after excuse, reasons why not. So along that steering wheel, yeah, well, what's the worst that can happen, I guess, is, when I go to that bad spot, when I ask myself, well, what's the worst that can happen? Then I usually end up laughing, because it always goes to some ridiculous point of, well, how could that ever actually, how could that scenario ever actually play out?
Well, that's interesting, because another really great question to ask when you're not feeling good is, what's funny about this? So you're talking about the technique of going to the worst place and realizing that actually maybe it's not as bad as you thought, which is a different skill set. But it's equally a great skill.
But I love the asking what I'm grateful for, that always raises my state, because there's always something to be grateful for. Or what can I learn? I love that question too.
Oh,
What
yeah.
can I learn this? Even if it's, gee, that's not the way I want to live my life, you know, like, and I'm gonna start asking myself more, I guess, the lingering problem. You know, I loved your original example of why am I so fat? And even as a water aerobics instructor, and I, you know, feel like I do live and have pretty good habits, but anytime I falter slightly, that's the default question. And so I love the how can I become more thin now and enjoy the process. That is such a game changer. That really like lifted a veil on really what empowering questions are. And yeah, so I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just, yeah. I'm gonna mute
Just
myself.
jump in. Can I just jump in, Corey? I mean, can I just jump in? I mean, do you think it's good to be always asking questions? I mean, I don't. If not, I'll constantly be thinking all the time. I mean, like, why? I don't know. I find it. I don't know what. You know, like I don't ask I mean, yeah, of course sometimes, but I'm not constantly like asking myself. I don't know, because I think sometimes you like if I'm trying to make some art, and sometimes I don't even know what it is, and sometimes if I'm constantly asking myself questions, what is it I'm trying to do, it just makes me more frustrated actually sometimes. So sometimes I just go with it.
That's because that's the wrong question. That's exactly the point. So you're good. Your mind's going to deliver questions anyway, whether you like it or not. You don't have a say in the matter. That's what your ego does. That's what your mind does. So instead of what am I trying to make, you could be asking, how can I make this an enjoyable experience? Completely different question. How can I just enjoy the process? How can I let go and be in flow? That is the very point, is that those questions are going to arise anyway. That is the peril of overthinking. How can I just relax? How can I enjoy this moment? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Joshua, we haven't heard from you. Oh, Jessica, you have your hand up. We always respect the hand raisers.
Hiya.
Hey.
I got a question. It's been
Yeah.
bugging me.
I hope I can answer. How can I answer Jess's question?
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know what it is.
This is perfect timing, Corey. I don't know. I'm stuck in a dilemma as to what to do next steps with my partner, kind of new relationship thing, as to whether to I don't know whether to start a relationship properly with him or just wait. I'm doing a lot of stuff at the moment, a lot of stuff on my work on myself. I don't have a lot of time. We've both got kids. It's going to be hard work. And I'm scared to meet him, because it's just going to happen if I do. And I'm just stuck and I just can't decide. Is there any other questions I could be considering? Because all I keep thinking is, do I want this? Do I need this right now? Or I often phrased in, I don't need this right now, or that I want to do it and it'll be fun. I don't know. Is this relevant?
It's very, very relevant. Very, very relevant. So you could ask, instead of trying to, you don't know whether you want to be with him or not. So you're going to you're going in a loop, right? So what are some questions that you could ask that would not be a loop? What questions could you ask
Um,
about your relationship?
Um,
Or in fact, any relationship?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think he'd wait. So I've asked the question, you know, would he wait? Sort of trying to get, how important is it to
Why are
start
you
this
letting
now?
why are you letting him decide is the question I would ask.
Yeah, I don't think I am. I think he would do whatever I want, really.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good situation to be in. So
It's scary though.
do you want a relationship?
Yeah, definitely at some point, but I think perhaps now isn't the best time. I don't know if it's fear.
What's the
Or
best time for me to have a relationship?
what's the time? Yeah, in 6 months maybe.
Well, is that a good question for you? What's the best time for me to have a relationship?
Yeah.
So ask yourself the question now.
When's a good time to have a relationship? Well,
What's the
everything.
best time for me to have a relationship that's going to benefit my life in every area?
Now. It's always now, isn't it?
I don't know. I want you to ask yourself the question. I don't know the answer. You're the one. All we're doing is we're using the steering wheel. Okay.
Okay.
You're trying to steer yourself to a solution. So you said 6 months.
Yeah, maybe. When I finish the EMF, I start thinking I'll be in a better place and have perhaps more time.
How can I
energy.
be in a better place emotionally?
Yeah.
Is a question.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that helps. What else? Keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
I don't know.
What do I want in a relationship is a good question. What do I truly want in a relationship?
Yeah.
You think that might help you decide?
Yeah, I think that to me just sort of straight away highlights if the adult relationship it'd be lovely, but all that extra with kids and managing their emotions around it is too much right now, probably.
Is that really how you feel?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
What would be great about me waiting 6 months? Not, I don't want you to have the feeling of giving up. I want you to have an empowering question. What would be great about you waiting 6 months, Jess?
Having more energy to put into it, being in a better place, and being, just emotionally being a bit more perhaps stable. Or
did anyone notice the change in Jess's voice when she started answering that question? Because I did. It was immediate.
Yeah.
What can I do to build my life so that I can be a great partner to someone else? How's that for a question?
Yeah, I think I'm doing all of that. I'm on the right path.
There you go.
Nodding, got to just
What can I do to
forward.
make sure I stay on the path without distraction?
Yeah, that's the risk of the relationship as well.
Right. So what can I do to, but I'm not saying you shouldn't take the risk. I'm just adding, layering in questions based on what you've told me.
Yeah.
Because it feels to me like you're worried about either letting him down or losing him or not finding someone else.
Or
they're all scarcity questions.
Yeah, or
Issues.
ruining the course and the progress I'm making.
Yeah, well, there you go. I don't think you need to worry about ruining the course. You just have to keep asking the question, what can I do to keep myself on track? We're talking about the Elite Mentorship Forum for those of you who don't know. what can I do to milk every precious second of this course?
Yeah.
Now, you might decide that having a relationship is a great thing to do because you want all those challenges to be in your face, but you might not.
Yeah.
Where it's your question, it's your answer, not mine.
Okay. That's really helpful because I've been stuck going backwards and forwards. So I've got lots more. I just couldn't think of any other layers. So thank you, Corey.
Well, you're very welcome. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to your value ladder. And if your top value is getting the most out of EMF and spending this 6 months focusing on your personal growth, then that's your top value. If your top value, on the other hand, were being in a relationship, then you would say, how can I make this relationship work would be the question.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's either how can I make this relationship work, or how can I make this course the most powerful experience I've ever had in my life?
Yeah, that's my focus at the moment.
How can I make this course the most powerful experience of my life? Well, please write it down.
Yeah.
And keep asking it.
Okay.
Because that will steer you towards the answer.
Okay.
If he's the right relationship, he'll be here in 6 months' time and you'll be in a much better place to receive that relationship. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So we've got about 8 minutes left. Jackie, Josh, do you have anything you want to throw in the pot? Ask.
I could, I just think this is a great session tonight.
Thank you.
I guess I've been doing some of it, not knowing. So, you know, I'm here hanging out, but I do feel lonely a lot. And I also feel old sometimes because, you know, and so I do kind of every morning say, you know, I start in the negative for a second, and then I'm like, okay, what can you do to feel better in this moment? And so, you know, sometimes I'll go for a long walk or a run, or I'll book a massage, or just, you know, so that's the old part. And then the lonely, you know, I've told you before that I have a little bit of social anxiety, whatever, but I'm forcing myself. So I forced myself to do a speed dating thing, ages 40 to 60. Woo! Yeah. I mean, I was going in with humor. So I did like your question, what's funny about this? Because a lot was, yeah, I went on that just, you know, to not really alleviate the lonely, but I just keep telling myself, kind of like Peter Sage says too, what if you do and what if you don't?
Right.
So I went, and it was funny. It was like 10 guys that rotate, and I ended up meeting 2 really cool women, not to date, but like we were laughing together in the bathroom.
That's hilarious.
And now we're friends, and we both thought it was whatever. So I didn't match with somebody, but then he just stopped texting me. And so I was just like, well, whatever, that wasn't meant to be. And then listening to Jess, it made me realize that now wouldn't really be the time anyway. I need to, EMF is a priority, but because I don't want to enter a relationship and have like old patterns or bad stuff come up. But I do like hearing all this about ask, well, what was good about this? What can I learn from this? What can I, so I am doing another one the end of the month, but just for fun. And it helps me practice, like, what are you looking for in another person? I really just don't like being lonely. I don't always want to do things with my daughters. I'd like someone our age, you know, just let's go walk around London or plan a trip to Cornwall or whatever. But yeah, this is good to just watch the questions, you know, instead of walking by a mirror and seeing my reflection thinking, oh my God, I'm an old lady in London. I'll say, well, at least I ran 3 miles today, or what can I do to, I don't know, but it's a constant, you know what I mean?
So look, I want to tackle this about an old lady in London. Okay.
Yeah, that was not a good, yeah, you're right.
No, I just want to give you some better questions. So what are some better questions you can ask?
I mean, a rhetorical question is, how lucky am I to be here in free? I don't have little kids anymore. I'm just, I mean, but that's not really, so what would be a good question?
So what's good about being older? That's one question that you just.
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
About being older.
Get that down. Yeah.
What do I like about my face?
Yeah. I can see, there's a lot,
What do I like about my hair
Oh,
or my figure?
I never think about that kind of stuff, but okay.
Well,
That is
because you're
vain,
busy
but yeah.
thinking about how old you are.
Well, just because London's just so young and vibrant and bustling. And I honestly, sometimes I think, gosh, I should have come here 30 years ago, but that's a dumb
What's
thing to
great
say.
about not having to worry about, you think young people don't have problems? I mean,
Oh, they do. Yeah.
yeah. So what's great about being older? What is great about being older?
Yeah. You're right, Corey.
I mean, I think I'm just so impressed that you went from social anxiety to speed dating. I mean, hello, that's a big giant step. How courageous am I?
I didn't have anything to lose. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What are all the different ways I'm being courageous? Liz?
Okay. It comes so naturally to you. That's wonderful. But yeah, you're right. But
I
yeah.
love it when people say naturally. That's like more than 10,000 hours of practice. That's 8 years of personal development and 33 years of Buddhism. Right? So just start now. Start
Yeah.
where you are.
Yeah, you're right. It's the whole framing of it all.
What can I do to be an old lady like Corey?
Think about that. No, I think Corey is younger than me. Well, not really, but spirit wise, you got it. But
What
anyway,
can I do to have a more youthful spirit?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like about myself is that I feel like I have limitless energy.
I think you do.
Well, but I realized today that I've cultivated that belief.
Mm-hmm.
I literally cultivated that belief. And beliefs is the topic next week, because
that'll be great.
You can have empowering beliefs or disempowering beliefs.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. And I do think it's because of at this point in life and then the whole dating, you do start kind of looking at yourself like, is it because I had jowls they didn't call? But then you're like, I don't want to be that. I don't care. I mean, anyway, it's just things that go in my head, but I've got some ideas of how to spin it more positively.
Well, you're beautiful as far as I'm concerned, but that's irrelevant if you don't think so. So what can I do to feel more beautiful? Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Really helpful for me too. So Josh, you have your hand up.
Yeah, very quickly. I just want to say perhaps it's more like, what can I do to be myself instead of framing yourself at an age? Because if you were 30 years or 20 years younger, this would mean you would be adjusted to the situation today. This means that actually it's the beginning of the 2000s. And I don't think 20 years ago was that much fun if you compare to the years you have now. So make the optimal of yourself. And for Adriana, all the questions you have to ask yourself in life, why, is because actually all the answers are already available. Sometimes it takes a few lifetimes, but it might be surprising that no might be an answer that can save your life while you're depending on a yes. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. And I love your question, what can I do to be more myself? Because I think that's a really beautiful question. What can I do to become more authentic? What can I do to become the fullest expression of myself is a question I would ask myself. What can I do to be more courageous in my honesty, more courageous in my authenticity? Because it's really easy to bury ourselves under layers of bullshit, isn't it? So guys, listen, I'm going to task you with, I'm going to ask you to please invite friends next week. I would love to have more people on this call. I love the fact that we do have new people every week. I love the fact that we have the same people often, which is great too. I think that, you know, when we have a great range of people, we have the opportunity for, I'm going to ask myself the question, what can I do to reach more people? What can I do to reach more people? If you found this beneficial, or enjoyable, what can you do to share it? Spread the love. Anybody have any closing things they want to say? I'm inviting my buddy Betty. Great. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? If not, I will love you and leave you. Next
Can I?
week. Go ahead.
Sorry, Corey. Just really, well, I hope it's going to be really quickly. I've been working actually for the last few days on trying to ask myself better questions to resolve my merry-go-round. So I'm working too many hours and too many days just to keep up with the living, you know, things like that, which then leaving me no time now to progress with EMT and dive, and now we're doing a deeper dive into EMF and things like that. And it's really frustrating because I feel like
What's
all
the
the
question you're asking? What's the question you're asking yourself?
Well, the first question was, how is there any other expenses I can let go so I can spare 2 days a week, just fully submerge into progressing.
So you're asking yourself a scarcity question. So what would be an abundant question in that situation?
Okay, I can see where you're going. How I can earn more money in less time.
Right. How can I earn more money in less time?
Which I feel that would be the EMT progression. This is what I want to do, and I feel it's right for me.
How can I make more time to do EMT?
Yes. Yes, that's
and then the answer might still be that I will cut down on my expenses, but you're coming at it from an empowering angle. Do you see the difference? How can I make more time to do EMT? How can I make more money in fewer hours or with less effort or with less time?
And then meditate on it and something will just happen.
Well, yeah, coherence, head, heart, coherence, alignment.
Yeah. It's,
I mean, what about those amazing quilts you're doing?
I know.
Have you sold the one that you showed us?
No, it's in the bag. It's and I've been asked to take it to the festival and I didn't because I don't know.
Are you going to sell it?
I am. Yeah.
Send me a picture of it, please.
Okay.
Again.
I will do. Thank you. I will do. Last night's session about limiting, and I cannot wait for next Monday for the beliefs. Believe I know I'm an AMF graduate, but believe me, I've come a long way. I had a lot of stuff to work through.
What's great about you?
Oh, I guess resilience. That I just keep going no matter what. I'm creative. I find solutions where there's despair.
Could you please write these down after the call?
I'm very loyal. Yeah, thank you.
I like you better already.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's funny about my situation? What am I grateful for? All the same things. So thank you for asking that. And you better send me a photograph of that quilt or I will be very annoyed.
Thank you. I'm in London next Tuesday and Wednesday, actually.
Cool. Where?
I'm meeting Jill. So I don't know what we're gonna do yet. But if you have any time around those 2 days, my son's gonna come and stay, look after this little baby. So I've got 2 days free.
Well, if it depends. If it's during the day, I probably won't be. And if it's Tuesday night, I'm doing my EMF. So
yeah,
just drop me a message at the time.
I will do. It'd be lovely to hug you.
All right, so that's a really great closing questions. So I'm gonna ask you all this question. What can I do to make the most of what I've learned tonight? And write it down. Eva, you haven't said anything. Have you just arrived?
No, I have been here with you. Hello.
Oh, good. Hi.
It was amazing, but I was just so, involved in listening. I actually asked myself this empowering question because, I'm on my own. My husband just went to Germany and I am alone with my 2 kids, and my daughter started, it was her first day at school. So many things were happening and I was kind of running short on time. And I was like, how can I come to the call? Because I hate to be late, So sometimes we limit ourselves just because we keep being so strict on being on time. And I just thought, well, I'm gonna be late, but I'd love to join them. So I made it.
So you found a solution.
Mhm.
Be late, because that's the best I can do in this moment.
Yeah, because I ask myself, do I want to be part of the call tonight? And the question was, hell yes. I just have to put the norms. Sometimes we pressure ourselves with certain standards, like, yes, being on time, because that's what makes you a queen, right? And then this kind of nice belief turns into limitation.
Yeah.
Huh? How about that?
What can I do to make the best out of the situation as I find it?
Because it was kind of handling, like, I need 10 extra minutes to prepare the supper for the kids, to put it on the table and then just join you. So I thought, I can do that actually.
And you did.
Yeah, and I don't care, like, she's late. She said she'll be on time, she's late. I mean, yeah.
Luckily, I had Charlie doing the letting people in, so that made it really easy for
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you to all of you for coming. I apologize that we've gone 10 minutes over. I don't believe that anyone minds. But if you do, please send me a handwritten complaint form and I will deal with that. Or leave earlier next time. So thank you very, 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 very much for being here. I look forward to seeing you all this week. I want to give you a heads up. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be moving the calls to a different night of the week because I'm going to America and my boyfriend has Mondays off. So I'm going to have Mondays off. So that's just letting you know in advance. But for now, we're still Mondays, and I will give you notice when it changes. So lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of love. And thank you for being such incredible people and incredible participants and playing with me. So bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
I didn't even know you were there. Great to see you as well.